Oh, here we go. Welcome to the Dynasty Hot Sauce Podcast. I'm Larry Monkey. You can find me on the internet at FF Larry Monkey. And as always, man, mixing up the colors like a chameleon these days, wearing a different colored t-shirt. I'm not used to all these color changes here. I can barely see them. It's almost like a camouflage. That hunter green looks like from this angle, always on the couch.
Read this thing. Yep.
Mr. At Run DFF, Justin Rogers. What's up, my man?
What's up? I want you to take a guess how old this shirt is. If I tell you what it is, you'll get a lot closer. Take a guess on how old this shirt is.
How old it is? Let's see. I'll say 17 years old.
Oh, you're way short, man. This shirt is from, in Roman numerals, 1997.
Dang it. Nice.
So what's that? 28 years old?
Off by 10 years. I was off by 10 almost.
Yeah. It'll be 28 years old this summer. It's a shirt from Boy Scout camp back in the day.
Boy Scout camp. Jesus, those shirts, man. If I put a shirt from Boy Scout camp on, I don't think I'd be able to speak. It'd be like a sausage popping out of it, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. I don't know. You can see you look like an alligator there, man. It's laying there like that.
Oh, speaking of, I gotta apply for my spring tag with my buddy. Ooh. I gotta text him in a little while.
Should I get a spring tag? When is alligator season?
You have to apply in a pair. You know, they have like a May season for right down the road from here, like 2 miles from my house, 3 miles from my house. There's a little bay off of the reservoir called Pelahatchie Bay, and they started a spring season there every year. I think this is the third year of it, but you have to apply with a buddy. So it's like you apply in pairs, and there's only 12 tags this year. I think it was 24 last year. There's only 12 tags this year.
I know our guest right now has got to be intrigued by this conversation.
He's probably like, what in the heck did I get into? So yeah. Welcome to the Dynasty Hot Sauce Hunting Podcast.
Hey now. Hey, you don't got anything fancy for this guy? Nothing?
You did this to me last week and put me on the spot, and I had to come up with something. I don't know. I really just I want to talk about the value, maybe the price of all these rookies this year.
Yes, the price is right. Yes. At Dynasty Price, Garrett Price. Long time coming. Welcome to the show, my man.
Thanks for having me. Excited to always excited to talk rookies and the incoming class. It's for us true degenerates. This is one of the most fun times of the year.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're coming off the combine. This is Tuesday or Monday following the combine. So we have to talk about how overrated this whole stretch is. The whole 6 days. How long does it last these days? I don't know. But really, there was only one day that really popped. And that was just on Saturday, right? Yeah, Saturday. Because that was the day that all of the people that we care about ran and jumped and whatnot. So, did you watch any of the combine, Garrett?
You know, I've had the pleasure of going in the past, sure. But now that my daughters are getting a little bit older, it is actually March 2nd is my daughter's birthday. So this Saturday, when all of the main stuff was going on, she decided that this year for her birthday, we're foregoing a party. This was birthday number 10. We're foregoing a party, foregoing traditional gifts. And she said, I want to do a shopping spree. That's what I want to do.
So I want to do a shopping spree for my birthday too. What did we get into there, Garrett?
Wait, hold on. How old is she again? I'm sorry. How old is she
10.
again?
10 years old.
My daughter will be 10 in August.
Okay. So yeah, she just we started the day off at Starbucks, and then we were at Target and then the mall, and it was fun to celebrate her. But I don't know about you guys. I played high school ball and college ball, and my legs are more tired after a day of shopping than any practice ever.
Yeah, dude, I cannot stand walking around a mall over there. I'm like, where's the nearest seat? I need to sit down. I run marathons, and I'm like, no, I need to rest, dude. This sucks.
Yep.
So yeah.
I don't know. But before we, dabble in all that stuff, I mean, Dynasty nerds, man. You're the Dynasty nerds guy. what's going on with the nerds these days? Love listening to the podcast. I am a member of the Nerd Herd also.
Oh, awesome.
Website you could join. I've been a member for a few years. Yeah, I'm logged in right now, as a matter of fact. Ready to go, man. We might just hop into your rankings and just like tear apart your rankings for the next hour if we
Hey,
want
there
to.
you go. Nothing better than that. I'll tell you what, look. So there's so many incredible platforms, amazing podcasts, places where you can check statistics and all that stuff. Like there's so many great places, but the one thing that I'll say pretty definitively, if you want to watch tape on these prospects, there really isn't a better place to go to watch tape on the prospects. Like all 22, like you name a player, we have at least like 3 or 4 games on them. Some of the bigger names, we have like 10 to 12 games on them. It's just, for all the things that you can go elsewhere and you can debate who's the best here, who's the best there. That's one thing I'm very proud of is if you like to watch tape, we're the site for you.
Yeah, got some good videos on there. There's a lot of content on there. It's just, I mean, you can't really. You just got to go on the site and poke around. It's like too much. There's like not enough time to get into everything that the Dynasty Nerds website has to offer. Dynasty GM, and you guys got an app and everything. Holy moly!
It's fun. We've been very blessed over the years and taken a lot of money and reinvested it back into the company and we just try to make, we're trying to just make Dynasty better for everyone. That's our goal. And
yeah, when we had Rich on, it was he came across like he is an ambassador of the Dynasty format. And he just wanted to promote it and just make more people, as many people love it as possible. And that's the goodness, baby. That's what we like. That's what we're into.
Yeah, he's an OG. He's an OG in the space. So.
The Nerds podcast has been around quite a bit, but you didn't start on it, right? You weren't. That's
correct. Yeah,
how did this all begin for you?
Yeah, so the podcast itself has been around right around 11 years now at this point. I've been a part of it for over half. I've been a part of it for 6 years. But basically, I was somebody that enjoyed the podcast. I listened to the show, and at one point, I know that they were looking for writers. I was like, well, I'm college educated. I can construct halfway decent sentences. Like, maybe I'll throw my hat in the ring. And I threw it out there. Eddie knows about it. The all 22 baby. So I was like, I'll throw my hat in the ring. And they read it and they were like, hey, this doesn't suck. Would you want to write more regularly? And I'm like, yes, that would be great. So I started writing and I actually didn't even realize it at first. And then as we talked more, I realized how close I lived. I was only a little over an hour away from him at the time. I'm further now, but only a little over an hour away. They're like, hey, you want to come do a guest spot on the podcast sometime? And I was like, yeah, that would be amazing. I would love to. So go up, same type of thing. Hey, you weren't terrible. Do you want to do this more regularly? And I was like, yes, I would. And then I just never left. I just never left.
Was this on the live set, like in at Rich's place? Like, do you make the trek every time and just you guys go on the set and BS like in person and stuff?
Typically, yeah, we do it. We do it remote sometimes, but a lot of times the show is in person. So I now live in Columbus, Ohio, and they're up near Cleveland. So it's about 2 hours and 40 minutes for me to get there every Tuesday. I drive up and drive home every Tuesday. Like I said, there are some weeks where we do it remote, but yeah, it's a grind, it's a commitment. But it was one of those things where I love the guys. The show's always better in person, and we built the studio and stuff. So it's just
you record on when do you record? Like on a Friday or Saturday, or is this
Tuesdays?
Tuesdays.
So Larry, I expect you next week to drive on down and come down to my studio right here on the couch.
Oh yeah, Mississippi. Yeah, 2 hours, right? What is it like? How long is it to your place right now?
If you want to drive,
we've done this before on the show. I don't know why. I don't know.
24 hours. Seriously,
it's not 24 hours. I live in New Jersey, Garrett, and Justin lives in Mississippi.
It's probably something like 21.
Where is it? Was it Brandon, Mississippi?
Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, we're gonna Google Map this thing.
Let's do
yeah.
it.
So you drive down, and we'll record the show, and you can head back home.
Yeah.
What are you coming up with, Larry? How far?
Yeah, 17 hours and 23 minutes right now. So
Oh, that's nothing.
just
quick
under
job.
1,200 miles.
Yeah, nothing.
Hey, it's it's usual traffic right now. 17 hours. Oh, I could do it. I don't know. Through Mississippi.
I think
I'm taking a plane. I'm taking a direct flight,
I
man.
think
I don't
it's
even do connections. I'll take a direct flight. I'm not.
I don't think you could. I do not think you can get a direct flight into Jackson, Mississippi, from where you are.
Fucking A. Challenge accepted.
Yeah,
Coming down, baby.
I
Okay.
know I had connections. I had to go through Charlotte or something to get up there when I was.
So just to backtrack, bring Garrett up to speed. We're going alligator. Justin goes alligator hunting like every year, and it's only a
if I get
window.
drawn. Yeah.
A what?
If I get drawn for a tag.
Oh yeah. It's like a lottery where you get you get to hunt and murder alligators. Like, hey, congratulations, you can murder alligators now. And and you have to get like a license first before you apply for it. And I tried to do it last year. I gave up because it was just I couldn't get through the filling out the form process.
Yeah, for the summer, like the late summer, right around Labor Day season. That's the one you need to apply for, Larry.
Yeah. So Eddie in the chat is a great friend and a great friend of the show. He's kind of me and him are going to go because he lives an hour from me in New Jersey. He lives down the shore. He lives in Kenny Pickett's hometown. So
that's the call to fame for that town is Kenny Pickett's hometown.
Yeah, right.
Whoa.
So me and him are going down, and we're gonna do some We're gonna do some alligator hunting down there.
Hunting.
And what is that in August?
If we're gonna get drawn, then we'll find a way to go deer hunting or something.
It's right around like when redraft leagues go off, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's right around like late August is when it is, right before Labor Day and maybe right. I think it ends the Labor Day weekend.
Well, you need to be on top of this because you are in. That's where we have to go. You got to let me know what I need to apply for and all that.
I'll set you up with all the information you need to put in your application to come and kill an alligator.
Me and
murder
Steady
an alligator.
So Garrett, Steady Eddie in the chat. That's Eddie there. He made it with a week to go in the Scott Fish Bowl. He was in first place overall, and then he ended up dropping. He dropped out like the top 10 or whatever.
Yeah,
but a week to go, first place overall, and
crazy.
He's one of our own.
Yeah,
man, so
we take like proxy credit for.
We told him who to draft.
Hey, follow FF Steady Eddie, folks. But so that was that. Real quick, we got some orphans to fill in our listener league, which is a 3-copy, 14-team Superflex with a heavy tight end premium. That's how we roll, baby. And if you're interested, reach out to us, and then we'll get into the rest of it.
Yeah,
right?
you join this league, you get 41 trade partners with one league. So come on now.
Yeah. We only have like 2 orphans, right? This season.
I think we have 4 this year.
Okay, 4.
What do
Jamie Rogue.
We gotta get Jamie. Yeah. He'll probably be in the chat in a little while. We're just gonna tell him he's in.
Yeah, he's getting in. This guy Garrett, he's in our chat every week, and we're like, you have to get in our listener league, buddy. We had him on the show as a guest. He's like in our chat, just like every week. He's like in, so he's coming at us with some good stuff. So we had him on. That was awesome. It was a great show. I
love it.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Sorry, man. That was back to you. So the nerds took off. I can't believe a 2-hour plus drive, man. That is something else, man. I hope when you roll in, like they roll out a red carpet for you. There's got to be like a cooler or you set up. There's some hors d'oeuvres or something.
I was gonna say what's the food spread there when you get there? Come on now.
See, that's the thing. It's usually Taco Bell or Chick-fil-A on the way up. That's usually what it is.
Oh man.
Jeez.
Taco Bell, and you can still record the podcast without interruptions, huh?
That's what I would say.
Well,
man.
that's what makes it fun. That's what keeps it interesting. It's like a podcast roulette.
Some hot takes there, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Hot, man. So you've started this, writing and whatnot 6 years ago. When did you start playing Dynasty?
So I started with guys right after we graduated college. So that would have been the
We're about to find out.
2013 season.
We're about to find out roughly how old he is, guys.
Yeah. right after or during the 2013 season. So this will be my 12th year of Dynasty.
Gotcha.
Right now. So yeah, it's and the cool part is too, all those guys, same 10 guys from the original league, all still in it.
Wow.
We get together in person for those of us that can. Some of us are like out of state and stuff like that, so it's a little harder. But yeah, same 10 guys.
That's
We
impressive.
thought we were really progressive at the time. We nothing like Superflex or tight end premium.
Oh no, I wanted to guess the settings for a league that's around this long. This has got to be.
Full PPR.
It's got to be one QB.
It's
It is one QB.
Full PPR, 9 starters.
Full
I was
PPR. Yep,
half,
9 starters.
I was gonna say half PPR just because.
No,
of
we
where
were full. We were
Full
progressive.
PPR was progressive back in the day, man. That was like
Here's where we got crazy. Though. We did a half point per completion for the quarterbacks.
Oh my
So it's
goodness.
huge quarterback scoring.
Yeah.
And in the startup draft, I don't think a single person read the rules. And I wasn't even the commissioner, but I had read the rules and I had the 4th pick. So the first 3 picks in order.
Wait, what year?
What
year is this?
2013.
Oh God,
2013.
I'd love to hear this stuff.
Nick Foles was probably in there or something.
No.
People weren't even thinking about quarterbacks. They weren't even thinking
Adrian
about quarterbacks.
Peterson.
He was in the first round, but he was not because some guys did pick up on the dynasty aspect. They left him out of the top 3.
Like
but
Eddie Lacy.
Eddie
Lacy?
No, he was a rookie. That would have been his rookie year. Because him and Lev Bell were both rookies that year, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it would have the year before, if you guys can guess, the rookie running back class from the year before.
Gosh. Throw out one name. Maybe I can think of the rest.
Well, one name will get you pretty far. The number 1 overall pick was Trent Richardson.
Oh yeah.
Number 1 overall pick.
Cleveland.
Number
Indy.
2.
And then at Indy.
Then we traded him to Indy. Number 2 was Doug Martin.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Muscle hamster.
These guys have been in rebuild mode since year 2 or 3.
And
D-Mart was only good every other year.
And pick 3 was Alfred Morris.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, that's one of the worst first 3 picks I've ever heard. That is atrocious.
So I was like, I don't know why nobody's thinking of like the high-end quarterbacks if it's half point per completion. I want to get myself like a young, accurate quarterback. So I drafted Aaron Rodgers, and it worked out beautifully. So it was fun.
Yeah, I missed my and no kicker, no D back then. You didn't do
No, we had kicker and D.
You did.
We had kicker and D.
You still have kicker D?
We don't anymore. We did finally vote it out. Although there's one guy that's trying so hard to bring them back. Like every year he brings it up to vote to bring them back. And I was like, you son of a gun.
Why does he hate the rest of you guys? Like you guys aren't friends with him anymore?
My home read.
I got the league to vote it out 5 years ago because I was like, it's just too much random chaos. And that's his reason for wanting to bring it back. He's like, I miss the random chaos. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. There's a guy in my home redraft league that my like almost 30-year-old redraft league. That's like 28. He's wants to bring the kick. We abolished the kick. We still have the defense, but it's a super flex now. No tight end premium. It's just like a whatever, but it has a defense. And this one dude wants the kicker back so bad, and he cries the blues every beginning of the season, and we're just like, dude, nobody wants the kicker but you.
No, kickers are awful.
I mean, mentioning the fishbowl again, I actually liked those kicker settings just because it at least you had a potential of being like a wide receiver 2. You know, it made them like a much more valuable from you know, I don't know. So I mean, I like points. You know, I want it's fantasy. You know, let's have some fun.
There you go. Scott does a great job at mixing that up and always having some fun, unique settings every year.
How many leagues? How many leagues are you in?
I'm in 17.
Yep.
I'm in 17. So I don't know. 17 dynasty leagues. Yeah. So by the time the season starts,
no?
I'll do the Scott Fish Bowl. I'll do like a league here or there with buddies. So, and I'll probably still add one dynasty league this offseason. So I'll probably be at 20 by the time the year starts. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if those are like rookie numbers or what compared to you guys, but
I think Larry's in 10 and I'm in like 12 or 13. So we're probably ish the same. Dynasty
we're old
league.
school. We're old school dynasty players at this stage, right? I mean, I started in 2014. It was my like rookie season.
I can't do the 35, 40, 50 leagues. There's no way. I enjoy the player aspect of it too much. I don't want to get into the portfolio business, running it like a business thing. It just doesn't feel as fun to me. So,
no, I respect that. And it is funny, even with 17 teams right now, there's still like people are like, you must own every player in the league. And I was like, there are so many players I still don't even have.
I'm with you.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. They're totally a bunch of. I don't have any CMC. I don't have any Debo. Like just random names off the top of my head right now. I have plenty of guys. I don't have anybody. Then there's some leagues where you have like the draft picks, so you take just random stabs. I don't have this guy here, so you take him here. I'm a casual, competitive. I like taking stabs at guys. I'm not like I'm going to have this guy for 3 years, and I have to turn it over because I have to do this now because this is my process, and blah 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 blah. I feel like me and Justin are similar. We're similar but different, but I think we both like to let the good times roll, right? Justin has a little more discipline than me, I guess.
A little more discipline. Holy cow. Some of these things you do sometimes.
Hey, I want to talk about a trade that I did.
You got one?
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know if anyone's going to like it. I kind of like it.
Okay.
You are aware of it. This was in a sleeper league that you just joined.
Oh, yes.
You picked up an orphan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I traded away. I'm in like full super rebuild where this is my picks year.
You're coming off of the rebuild.
Well, this is my picks year, my picks season. You accumulate all these picks, and this is the season that I'm gonna splurge and cash in all my firsts. So I've just been trying to dump guys and just lessen the load. I have like a dozen picks in this draft. So I traded oh my God, did another trade just occur? I traded I traded Mark Andrews and Michael Penix for the 104 and 301.
What is the premium? I just joined this league last week.
It's
right before we recorded. It's 2 point.
Yeah, it's a 2 point tight end. Yeah.
Man.
So what was the trade again? You said Penix and Andrews.
Penix and Andrews for the 104 and the 301. Now, hold on a second. Let me add some context. I also have the 102, 3, now 4, 5, and 6. And then I also have the 207, 208, 209, 210, and then the 301, 302. So there was a part of me that just wanted the pick just to add to my like super line of picks. And I figured, whatever, man. I figured Ward or Sanders or whatever, one of those guys I might entertain. Which I think would be an upgrade from Penix, but maybe you can and maybe help us out with some of that in a bit. But yeah, what do you think? What's your take on that deal?
If it were me, I do like Penix quite a bit. I have them in a similar range as a Ward. So for me, that would kind of make it the 4th round pick for Andrews, and obviously in the heavy tight end premium, I probably wouldn't do that. But if you have a guy there at 4 that you love and he's your guy, like I get it. But I don't think for me personally, I probably would have done that.
Yeah, no, I understand this completely. I'm also an injury guy, and I have a beef with Penix and his 2 ACLs. And not that I have a beef, but I just acquired Penix, so he was kind of like he hasn't been on my team more than a week. So I'm kind of like flipping guys. I'm flipping around to get draft picks, and now I have like a ton of flexibility to, maybe upgrade a quarterback somewhere else. Oh, look at this guy. Oh, this is the guy we're talking about. So
Jamie popping in. Yeah. Knew he was going to be here at some point.
Yeah, no, hey, like the show, right? I don't do that enough. I don't promote our YouTube channel. Hit the like button. Jeez, you know what? Yeah,
Yeah, it does. I agree. It does offer you more flexibility, but it was at a high cost.
yeah,
I
I
don't
know.
know. I know we talked about Andrews, and I kind of pooped on him a little bit last week, but I don't think he's that low. That you're just
No
basically
one's trading for Andrews. Honestly, I tried to get rid of him throughout the entire season. No one wants Andrews in this league.
You're at the point now where you're ready to compete. You don't have to get rid of Andrews.
But I didn't want him anymore.
I
And I
I know
wanted
how
I
that
wanted to
goes.
get rid of Penix, and I wanted the 104, and I wanted all the. I
Mhm.
just wanted. I want like all the whole first round. This is like a league where I just want the whole first round. I've never had this many picks before. I don't think in a first round.
It
Oh,
is
it's
How many?
hard.
Hey Garrett, how many picks have you ever had in the first round? Have you ever had like a whole entire first round of a rookie
Never had
draft?
a whole first round. I did do a true like productive struggle to like a borderline ridiculous degree one time. Just more for like I wanted to do a video on it. Just wanted to see how it would turn out. And so it was a startup league with some guys, and I did not make, or I shouldn't say I didn't make, but I did not keep a single pick until like round 10. So like
Yeah.
every pick I ended up moving for that year's draft or next year's draft or whatever. And so I ended up when I walked out of the draft. Now, later on, I ended up making a bunch of deals and acquired some players, but I walked out with, I think, 7 firsts and 2 or 3 seconds that year, and then 4 firsts the following year and 5 seconds the following year. It's kind of what I walked out with. So I walked out with a ton of draft assets, but my best player was Cole Kmet. So, you know,
Oh,
like
wow.
that's
Wow.
where it gets tough.
Like,
This was 2 or
like
3 years ago, but
John Idzik, like he's got like a famous line, like the Idzik 9 or whatever. Like all his draft picks were a bust that one year. That he was
Yeah.
the GM of the Jets. Sorry.
That's a tough go. Like I love a productive struggle. It's the only thing I do in a startup these days.
Sure.
It's just productive struggle. But I don't want it to be to where I'm just completely barren. I hate to be all picks.
Yeah, I didn't love it. It was more of a let's just see how this works. Like I'm walking out with what did the total end up being, like 11 or 12 first round picks. So, you know, like I was like, we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
That's
I didn't
fun.
love it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a blast. It was a blast. But yeah, it wasn't my favorite either. Although I did a strategy that's kind of, I did a video on it, and it's become one of my new favorite strategies if it's a startup where people are active, because that's kind of a key component of it. Is you have some startups where people are just kind of sit in their spot and take their pick, which is fine. Like
No, it's
nothing
not.
wrong with that.
No, it's not.
But
Yes, it's not fine. Get the fuck out of here,
fine.
Garrett. It's not fine.
But I love ones where it's getting crazy and people are just swapping picks and moving up and down the draft. And so I did what I've kind of coined as like the flip the script draft. And so what I did was I started off similar to a productive struggle, where I traded my first 2 or 3 rounds for either later picks in the startup or rookie picks. And so I ended up with a few rookie picks. Then I traded to also get more in like rounds 5, 6 type range and have some picks in there. Then instead, normally what teams kind of expect you to do is the productive struggle then. So you're taking only young guys and whatnot. But now I'm sitting here with like 4 first round picks. And instead, what I did was I kind of flipped things and took a bunch of veterans and guys that are a discounted value in round 8, 9, 10. You know, this was 2 years ago. So guys like Keenan Allen, guys like Travis Kelce, guys like, you know, that are falling a little bit in drafts just because they're a little bit older, Dak Prescott, whatever. And taking guys like that. And it was really fun because I had a super competitive team, but I already had my rebuild in place. So it was kind of a fun new strategy that I want to try a few more times and see how I fully feel about it. But I liked how it flowed year 1 or year 2, whatever it was.
I am just I just don't want to. I'm waiting until my next league. I just want to stay at like 10 leagues. I want to, but my next league, I'm going to be very specific and particular about. It's got to be like, it's going to be a startup. It's got to be a Devi component, right? I mean, how many of your
Yeah, I love
leagues
Devi
got some
components.
Devi stuff going on in them?
I have 3 leagues that have either a Devi or a C2C component to them.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. All right,
Yeah, I enjoy it.
so
Well, let's get into some of this year's.
that's a segue, baby. Jump on, hop on the segue. Take it
We
there,
were talking
Justin.
about the combine prior to coming on live, but Larry, did you watch any of the combine?
I was in and out. I have a 3-year-old and a 9-year-old who plays sports, but I was all over the place. Oh, and I'm into like college softball now. My daughter,
Yeah, you said this earlier, and I'm so confused. I know your wife played softball. Your daughter played.
My wife never really played softball. She played some softball, but she's not like diehard or anything like that.
Man,
but
you are now watching college softball because you have the ESPN Plus thing or something. What?
My daughter's a pitcher. My daughter, who's a 9, right? She pitches in softball. She takes lessons, and like it's a big deal. And she's real good. She's pretty good. So of course I'm into it because she's into it, and I'm watching college softball now, and I couldn't find any college softball games on TV. But but the season started, and they're like, I'm like, man, they played 10 games already. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I go on the I see like I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me go to Twitter and see what the deal is. And I just punch in like Texas softball, and there was like a hashtag like SEC plus or something like that. So it's only on the app, and I'm like, okay. I go to the app, and thankfully I have some kind of package where all of a sudden I have like every softball game going on in the country. I'm watching. I saw Carlin Pickens who just recently threw the fastest pitch in history, 77 miles per hour, which is the equivalent of a 108 mile per hour baseball pitch. She did it twice. Anyway, she pitched on Saturday, and I saw her pitch a no-hitter. How about that? And it should have been a complete game, but the ump missed a call. Anyway, but yeah, I'm all in on college softball, and I go to watch. I'm like, oh, this is going to be my new Friday thing. Friday night was like there was like 1,000 games on, and I know the players and stuff. I'm like the John Lobb. I'm like the John Lobb of college softball.
So all that to say, you didn't watch a whole lot of the combine, huh?
I was dipping in and out, man. In between Texas, Mac Morgan, baby. You got to check this chick out, man. Anyway, yeah, she was pitching.
I also did not watch a ton of the combine. I have watched clips and checked some.
Listen, you know what? Let me and to your point, let me explain. There really wasn't that much like a lot of guys were sitting out. It was like too many guys. There were no like quarterbacks. Jackson Dart's kind of like whatever, and Milrow with his hands, but. Which was kind of funny to hear, like his hands.
Crazy growth spurt, man.
Huh?
I'm gonna look up what he did so I can make my hands bigger like that.
Well, I don't know. So Dynasty Price, tell us about the combine. Do you care about the combine? Do you pay attention to it? Like, how does it impact? Does it impact anything? I know a lot of guys. It doesn't really change anything for them, but
it doesn't move the needle much for me. If the scouting process was a pie. It would at the most be 5% of that pie at most. So it's very little impact. But I think the thing that it factors in the most is one, just all of the extra news and tidbits we kind of get in the process because all of these guys are together. Like that's a big part. 2, the medicals are big. These teams really want to get the medicals, see how guys are with all of that. That's important. And 3, as much as I don't really care if somebody ran, if a running back ran a 4.48 or a 4.5 flat or even up to a 4.6, I really don't care that much. NFL teams still care to some extent.
They do.
So as much as they care, I care because it affects their draft capital. So for my dynasty team, do I really care? No, but I know that this will slightly move and adjust the NFL draft valuation of these players. So that's as much as I care about it, if that makes sense.
So I was thinking about this, and it's something that I've kind of stuck with. Is it? I don't think you can really improve your draft stock a lot at the combine unless you're someone who is little known and rises, but you can definitely hurt it. Like Tez Johnson just became maybe a 6th or 7th rounder, maybe even undrafted, running that slow at 154 pounds. I think that's something to take note of. Like there are situations where players can hurt themselves unless he goes out and has an incredible pro day. His draft stock is tanked. From a top 100, 120 player to a day 3, maybe UDFA at this point.
Oh, what do you think about that one?
No, I totally agree. It crushed his stock, and you're right. I think it serves more, the combine serves more as an eliminator for players more than it does something that's going to qualify them for whatever role or job. So I would agree.
Although your boy Matthew Golden, Larry, he's going to rise a little bit. That crazy 40.
Oh, he's going to be a first-round pick, man.
He had the fastest 40 time of the wide receivers, didn't he?
He did. Number one time.
They're gonna bring him in on. I don't know. They're gonna fly the jets over the head of every stadium that he starts for, because this guy is gonna be. What do you think? He's gonna be like a 15th overall pick, or what? 15 is 18.
So have you watched much tape on Golden, Garrett?
Yeah, I like Matthew Golden. I think he's a talented wide receiver. You saw specifically he really broke out towards the end of the year and then into the college football playoffs. That's when we really kind of saw him ascend to that next level. He's got adequate size, 5'11", 191. So that's a big part of it for me is, for him to be able to run that kind of 40 and at that solid size. I'm not saying that's huge or anything. He's not 6'3" or anything like that. But 191 is a solid weight for a guy at 5'11". I've heard rumblings. I don't necessarily think it's true, but that he could be the number 1 receiver off the board, unless you're counting Travis Hunter, which I don't know. I don't know yet what's going to happen.
Yeah, we don't even. No one knows what to think about this dude right now. Holy cow!
That's a post-draft conversation.
It's really a what does the team say? What is the team? How is the team going to use them? Kind of thing. Because
that's gonna be like that'll be on the news every single day till it comes out.
Well, it's like everyone's talking about it. Every film person I've listened to has said he's the number 1 wide receiver in this class, but at the same time, he may not play much wide receiver. Like it's just that crazy that he's that good at cornerback that he may not play much wide receiver, even though he would likely be the best wide receiver in this class.
But traditionally, the folks that run the fastest 40 don't really turn out to be anything special.
No, nope.
Well, I think what we've seen though is that it's a lot of times it's a tiny dude running that. I mean, John Ross, Xavier Worthy kind of broke the mold last year and actually did something his rookie season. But
thank God. And who knew that he'd be able to do that? Well, Lamar Jackson had MVP season also. I mean, Rashad Bateman was kind of relevant. Who knew that was going to ever happen? Oof.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right about like fast times don't necessarily translate to the NFL at all. I mean,
in fact, at wide receiver, over the past, I want to say it's 8 seasons, it's actually had a negative correlation to fantasy football success. So it's kind of surprising that you would think like a positive metric like speed could actually, not that it's hindering these players, but it's just there's a difference between being a track guy and a football guy.
Yep. Jamie in the chat says Fannin fell hard because of the metrics. Have you watched the film on him? So how does Fannin play out to you as far, because people really thought he was going to run the 4.6s. He doesn't, unfortunately. I don't know.
Don't we still have to wait for pro days and stuff? And the 40 times usually a lot better.
Typically,
Yeah, like it's a better environment for them. They're not going through all the rigmarole of the whole combine. They're getting more rest. They're at home. They're in a comfortable environment.
Okay, so who do we have as the big losers of the combine so far? Tez Johnson.
He's probably the biggest loser of all of
He
them.
is. No doubt.
He should have skipped the combine, and he would have been a 3rd round pick, right?
Yeah, a guy I like quite a bit, but he didn't. I kind of already knew he wasn't a superb athlete. He's more falls in line in the Kyron Williams, Bucky Irving of just a hard-nosed football player, but not necessarily an elite athlete. Kyle Monungai, he ran a 4.6 flat, so not ideal for him. Didn't have like explosive metrics, but Kyron ran a 4.7 and didn't do great in his metrics. Bucky Irving was a 4.55, and then like a 30-inch vertical, which is like unheard of as far as not being good. So there's things like that. So I'm not gonna sweat it too much. A guy that maybe hurt himself a little bit more by proxy, more than necessarily he did poorly, because I think his combine was fine. But the other guys that profiled similar did so much better, and it kind of hurt him a little bit, was Caleb Johnson. Quinshaw Judkins absolutely ate at the combine, ran a 4.48 40, but specifically the 11-foot broad jump, number 1 in the class, really shows his explosiveness. So I think that was a big thing. And then Omarion Hampton had a really solid day. Whereas Caleb Johnson, he didn't do the vert, he didn't do the broad jump, ran a 4.57, which is not a bad time. Like I really don't care about that much. The part that I care about a little bit, and if you watch it, I don't know if he just isn't a track guy, which I don't care about, but his takeoff's really bad, and he had the slowest 10-yard split in the class. So that's the thing that like does worry me a little bit. A 1.62, like a full 1/10 of a second faster or slower than a lot of guys. So it is something I'm monitoring slightly. So I don't think he had a horrible combine. It's just some of those other guys that he was kind of jockeying for draft capital just did so much better.
Yeah, when you said Quinshaw Judkins and Omarion Hampton, those two guys and Travion Henderson really, I think they separated themselves in that second tier from guys like Caleb Johnson and the such. Like they put on a show out there, had really high size adjusted metrics, especially. So good stuff from those guys.
So I mean, this is the running back class of one of the looking at least minimum at this point, a top 3 of all time. The way these running backs are coming,
at least by the hype, yeah.
Sure. I want to talk about one guy because I only know him because I drafted him in a Devy league a couple of years ago when he was like a rising star, and then he kind of like, I don't know if he had some off the field stuff, but Ollie Gordon has kind of been a dark horse. I've had my eye on him for a couple seasons, and he's been pretty money. But I bring this up, and I want to like kind of connect it to a tweet that you put out the other day about Ollie Rank being your 12th ranked RB, and with his tape score, and I don't know, can you explain this a little bit?
Sure.
Just because it was of interest to me, and I feel like it might be some interest of other place, like 12 ranked RB, and just compared to the other seasons, it's like mind-boggling that there's going to be this many like solid running backs out and about.
Yeah, so it is pretty interesting. It's an interesting class. So I go through and I do what we call the nerd score every year, and it's more or less just the tape score is really what it is. But when I went through and I grade all these guys, and I have to watch a minimum of 4 games before I allow myself to give them scores, and I go in and I kind of rank them for their their burst and their receiving ability, and all of these different things. So I go in and I do that. Ollie Gordon came in 12th, which sounds bad. Sounds like, well, Ollie Gordon must not be very good then.
Right.
Well, when you compare that to the other classes, he came out with a score of a 72.35. If I were to compare that to previous classes, well, every class over the past 5 years that I've done this before this year, so this year's 6, the most guys in a class that had a 72.35 or higher was 7, and several other classes had like a 3 and a 4. So that's kind of how it came out for me, is just, yes, he's not in my top 10, and there'll be some people that don't love that, but it's not because I think he's a terrible running back. He would have easily been top 10 every year in the past 5 years, and would have even been in the top 5 in several classes. It's such a good class that he looks a little underwhelming by comparison.
Oh, look at this. To pivot, what if he ends up on the Chargers? Does that spice it up a little bit?
Is Jamie a Browns fan? I see this logo here. I'm an Ohio guy, so Jamie might be my boy, but yeah. So if he ends up on the Chargers, I mean, if let's say in the 3rd round, Harbaugh decides to go get himself a big physical back, he could end up being really good with that offensive line and the things that they could do with play action and things there. It's going to be an incredible spot for whoever ends up landing there. But that's the fun part about this year's class, is there's so many spots where they end up, this guy ends up here, he's interesting. He ends up here, he's interesting. There's so many teams that have needs, and not even just bad teams, like good teams. The Vikings are one of the most exciting landing spots. I can see the Chiefs taking somebody, the Washington Commanders, the Steelers, the Browns, the Cowboys, the Raiders. I mean, we can go on and on. There's about a good third of the league pretty easily that could legitimately take a day 1 or day 2 running back. So it's going to be a fun year to have picks, because a lot of these guys are going to at least be in complementary roles, if not lead roles, in their backfield. So it should be really fun.
Yeah, this is like the running back reset year.
Yep.
From 2017 or whatever.
2017, exactly. Yep.
Now, do you feel the same way about the tight ends? Like, because we've been hearing that the tight ends are very deep this year. What's your take on the tight ends? How do you feel about them? And is there anybody that you have your eyes on?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good tight end class. Obviously, the two big ones, Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, both those guys are studs. Legitimate 1st round. They deserve it. Play a little bit differently, but both guys, fantastic players. But yeah, it's a great tight end class too. You look at a guy like Mason Taylor, son of Jason Taylor, out of LSU. He's a very, very solid tight end. I really like Elijah Arroyo out of Miami.
Everyone's saying him.
Play that on the show. Yeah.
Yep.
So
he's an exciting one.
So again, getting back to that trade, that Mark Andrews deal, that 301, I was looking at it as a valuable pick, just because I feel like this is a deep. I know the quarterbacks are kind of slim, but I feel like
it's a deep class. Like, okay, so last year we saw guys like Marshawn Lloyd, Bucky Irving going in the 3rd round. I don't think we're going to have that kind of push this year, because we don't have 6 quarterbacks and 7 or 8 wide receivers pushing all these running backs down. I don't think that 301, when we did that mock, the 301 looked awful, because the running backs go so early, the tight ends go early, and there's just not that much depth at the other positions. So we have like 8, 9 running backs and 4 or 5 tight ends off by the middle of the 2nd round in that mock player.
It all depends on when the quarterbacks get drafted. Anything after the 2nd is.
But there's only like
not even worth it.
There's 2, maybe 3 quarterbacks that are worth drafting in this class. Depending on where they go. And the wide receivers, there's only going to, I don't know what it's going to look like. 4 or 5 guys that you're really going to want. And then it's going to fall off. Go back to that 301, and I'm like, I just have to shoot that down a little bit, because the 301 this year just doesn't have the cachet.
Not yet. It will have some cachet soon, though.
Are there any
maybe in a month?
Yeah. Garrett, are there any players that rose through this last week that you're glad they did, because it's pushing your guys down? Like, do you think that
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, there's always guys that I'm glad that they rise, because it pushes a guy I like down. basically, like I said, a lot of the running backs rose because of the combine, which, like, just to recap, overall, I don't think that anybody should move drastically because of the combine. But that being said, I'm a big Cam Scatterbu guy. I really like his game. I think he's a very, very talented running back. And everybody gets so concerned with the 40-yard dash, so concerned. And he didn't run the 40-yard dash. So on everybody's boards, he automatically gets pushed down because of that. But what people fail to realize is he did do some of the other testing.
He did.
His broad jump was 10.3, which was middle of the road, which is fine. I just needed to know, is he a good athlete or is he a subpar athlete? He was average there. But the thing that blew me away, 39.5 on the vertical, second in the class, which I did not see coming, which shows how explosive an athlete he is. But most people are not talking about that. So I think that's pretty interesting. And I think because everybody else is getting a lot of love and getting moved up boards, and not that they're bad players, but if that pushes down Scatterbu at all, I'm going to be in.
Yeah, he was a little banged up. I was shocked by a nearly 40-inch vert. Shocked.
Wild.
I did not expect that kind of athleticism from him. So, yeah, that's nice. That's nice to see because it reminds me of another guy, completely different position, but Lab McConkey last year comes out and runs 4.42 or whatever he ran, and people were like, "Oh, he was producing in college, but he's actually a good athlete too." Because you didn't see it on the field that same way. I mean, he's athletic. He plays well, but it's not like he was just out running, out jumping everybody on the field the way that you would, hope a freak athlete does. But when someone does that, you're like, okay, there's bottled up potential there that can definitely be opened up in the NFL.
We got some Patreon questions here. Marcus Yarns and ask him about Marcus Yarns and Brashad Smith. Thoughts on those two sleepers? What do you got? Any thoughts on those two sleepers?
Yeah, Marcus Yarns is an interesting name. He didn't get an amazing score for me, but he didn't get a bad score for me. I think you're looking at probably a purely third down role, or I shouldn't even say third down role, but a pass catching role at the next level. I think that's where he really does his best work. He's okay between the tackles, but he's got the speed. The speed is absolutely there. He can move really well, but not somebody that I'm necessarily prioritizing in my drafts. But if he falls to late third, early fourth, now I'm interested as a potential valuable pass catcher. Brashad Smith's a really interesting one, converted wide receiver that's playing running back now, and both these guys profile as some more receiving type backs. But Brashad Smith did some really, really nice things at SMU this year. And I think he's one of these players that, given more time at the position, I think we could see some better things out of him. We're thinking of some guys recently that were wide receivers that transitioned into running backs. We had Antonio Gibson, had a nice little run there for a bit. Tyrone Tracy this past year, wide receiver that converted a running back. And I think he's in a similar vein as those types of players, that he does enough between the tackles and his vision is better than you would expect for a guy that changed positions. So of the two, Smith's the one I'm more interested in, I would say.
All right. And a couple of tight ends I would like his thoughts on. Luke Lackey out of Iowa and Maliki Matavo out of UCLA. And then let's add this one, and let's throw some comps around on these wide receivers. Don't give me landing spot and coaching bullshit, though it does matter. I want to know who's got NFL talent and who don't.
All right.
Patreon question.
Yeah, I love it. So for Luke, we have a guy that doesn't have amazing production in college, dealt with some injuries, but really, really soft hands. Definitely one of those players that has a very high ceiling in the class. And so if there was a tight end that I wanted to take a dart throw on after the first 4 or 5 guys, he's one of those players that I want to take a dart throw on. Him and Gunnar Helm are two of those players that I think have very, very high ceilings. And we haven't necessarily seen all of the potential yet that both of those players could possess. As far as the kid out of UCLA, I have not done my tape study on him yet, so I don't want to speak out of school and say, I feel strongly one way or another because I just haven't watched him yet. So eventually I will, but I'm not quite there yet on him.
Yeah, we still got a couple months to watch some tape and figure things out, before the NFL tells us what they think.
Exactly. Wide receiver comps. Yeah. So comps are fun. I enjoy doing comps, but I try to be very careful because every player is unique. Every player is different. And we only want to comp players to like superstars ever.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the hard part is if you comp a guy to a big time player, even if you think he's a light version of that, it's like, oh, you think he's the best player ever? Well, no, I'm just saying the skill set's similar. But if you comp him to a lower level player, you're like, oh, you think he sucks? Like, no, not necessarily. I'm just saying. So that's the tricky part with comps. It's hard to really hit on both stylistically and potential at the same time. So let's start with Emeka Egbuka. This is one where I'm going stylistically. I'm not saying he's going to perform day one like this guy is in the NFL, but he reminds me, Emeka Egbuka reminds me of an Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's not the fastest player on the field. He's not the strongest guy, but he does everything right. He is in the right spot at the right time at all times. Leader, has that grind mentality, and he's got excellent hands. You're not going to see him drop passes. You're not going to see him run poor routes. He's going to run really clean routes, play with good physicality for the position, probably a better slot than an outside guy, but I think could do both. Once again, I'm not saying we should be expecting top 5 fantasy finishes real quick from him, but he's stylistically, the two remind me of each other. So that's one of the comps that I could see is Amon-Ra and Emeka Egbuka. As far as some of the other guys go, Luther Burden, the easy one is Debo. I don't love that one, though. I don't think that's a great comp, but that's the one you're going to see thrown around the most. This guy's a little bit older, but he reminds me more of maybe slightly more juiced up Golden Tate is who Luther Burden reminds me of. A guy that's going to be really, really good after the catch, play with some pretty good physicality, got a little bit of running back in him despite being a wide receiver. So he kind of reminds me of a Golden Tate type of player. I don't know who are other guys you guys want
Golden
comps?
Tate. Nice name drop there. Golden Tate. Well, look at this. Well, little Ricky White, the third. Who the heck is that?
Kid out of UNLV. He's going to profile more as a Z than your traditional X or slot receiver. He's probably going to be more of the deep threat, but he doesn't necessarily have the burn that you would expect out of a true Z, where, those guys are usually your 6'1", 6'2", and they're running a, 4.3, 4.4 type 40, but they might not necessarily have the polished route running skills like that of an X, or might not be as strong at the catch point. So I think he falls into that line. I do worry a little bit about his athleticism. Is he athlete enough? So we'll kind of have to wait and see. I've only done 2 games on Ricky White, so I need to watch a little bit more on him as well. But interesting player, and I think he's better at the catch point than your traditional Z. But it's the athleticism that I worry about a little bit with White.
One more comp for you. How about Trey Harris at Ole Miss?
Ooh, Trey Harris is a fun one. I don't know that I've given him a comp yet. If I had to think of a comp for Trey Harris,
he ran slower than I thought he was going to.
I thought he was going to be a little bit faster too. I thought he was going to be in the
4.4. Yeah.
Yep.
With the 4.54.
Yeah, a little bit slower. That's a tough one. Who would I comp him to? I think this is one where it's going to sound like I don't like the guy, because I like Trey Harris. He's my 5th rated receiver as of right now. So I definitely like Trey Harris, but he reminds me of a better version of Michael Wilson. if that makes sense, from the Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
I know
right.
he hasn't done a lot in the league, but I did like Michael Wilson's tape, and I think he is better than him. But you're talking about a big physical guy, but can make a lot of big plays. So he kind of reminds me of a Michael Wilson, just a better version, a juiced up version.
I want to touch on the QBs real quick. How do you have them ranked? And is it only 2? Like, how many first round, or better yet, what are you taking with your first, like, if you have the 101 through 103, like, how's that shaking out for you? Are these QBs getting bumped out of the way in favor of running backs and wide receivers at this point in the Superflex rookie draft?
Shador is definitely getting bumped. I actually am in a startup right now where we did the startup draft, but we drafted rookie picks. We draft the first 2 rounds before the NFL draft. So we're in the midst of that rookie aspect of it. Shador fell all the way to pick 9 in that. And while I think that might be, the hate maybe has gone a little too far, I still kind of think he's more than likely a top 10, top 15 type of guy. I think the hate's maybe gone in Superflex. Wow. I think the hate's gone a little too far on him. But in the top 3, I don't think I could take Shador in the top 3 though. But I would feel comfortable taking Ward. I think Ashton Genty's the clear 1-1. And then I would probably go probably at like 3-ish. I would probably feel comfortable taking Ward right now. And then as far as the other quarterbacks go, Jackson Dart, I do think he probably ends up as a first-round quarterback. And if anybody's drafted in the first round, I have a hard time not taking him in the first round of a Superflex rookie draft. So I would probably be willing to take him at 11 or 12. The hard part is there's just so many exciting running backs. That's where it's going to get hard to do. And then after that, then it's kind of anyone's guess. I like Shuck a little bit. I think he's an interesting quarterback, but not. I mean, we're talking now at this point, late second, early third type of range.
If Dart goes in the second half of the first round, does that downgrade him? Because there is a strong history of second half of the first round quarterbacks just flaming out. We only have a handful, like maybe 2 or 3 in the last 15 years that have done anything.
It drops like 40% hit rate. I think it's like 70% of the top 5, 70% hit rate, and from first round, it's like 30%.
From in the second half of the first round, it's something like 7% over the last 15 years.
It's like Lamar Jackson, and then everybody
and everybody,
right?
A whole bunch of Christian, I can't even remember. Christian Ponder, wasn't he a late first round? I mean, there's a bunch of guys like that. Ponder,
as a Browns fan, we've had Brady Quinn and Brandon Weeden and Johnny Manziel, and we've contributed to that quite a bit. So it's the Browns' fault mostly for that.
Paxton Lynch was one of those guys.
Same here. Look over here.
Kenny Pickett, Larry, when he was drafted. So,
Kenny Pickett? Yeah, he was a first rounder.
But he was like 22nd or whatever, something like that.
It was a huge miss. So Dart's not looking at much at this point, but Sanders ended the first round. Interesting. I mean, even if he's a top 5 pick, you think he's NFL draft? You think he is a top 5 pick?
I feel confident that he's top 10. I don't know if I can say I'm confident he's top 5 at this point.
Now, what is the Browns fan and you're looking at a QB here? You're hoping for Cam Ward?
I would be fine with Cam Ward at 2. I would also be fine if they just said, hey, we're going to give it one last run, because the defense is actually a very strong unit. We just can't seem to figure out the quarterback play. Joe Flacco went on a nice run for us. Baker Mayfield took us to the playoffs a few years back. So we have the pieces. It all comes down to, do we get the quarterback play or not, is really what it comes down to. So if they decided that they wanted to go the, Kirk Cousins route for a year to try to extend Myles Garrett's window or something like that, I would be totally fine with that. And then going after a Travis Hunter or something like that at pick 2, I would have no issue with that.
Do you believe that Myles Garrett is on the team this year? Just on a sidebar there.
I would say probably. I would say he is probably still on the team. And as a Browns fan, I love Myles Garrett, but
Sure.
I would have no issue seeing him moved simply because I don't think that the Browns have the team to get it done even with Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. I think they're at the point where they kind of need to hit the reset button a little bit and get the first round capital while they can for a guy like Myles Garrett. Because we saw what happened with similar type of Hall of Fame talent, best at his position for years in Joe Thomas. You know, we had an all world left tackle and we lost. I mean, he was there for the over years. So at this point, I think we got to let Myles Garrett. Yeah, my guy Jamie knows what he's talking about here. Let Myles Garrett go. Let him be, and let him try to win a ship with, the Bills or somebody.
It's sounding more and more like he's just completely done with the Browns. Like, not
I
even.
can't blame him.
Yeah, that's true. He can't. So,
yeah, I think most Browns fans won't even be upset. They'll understand.
I think they already understand. Just it's fine. We're gonna miss you, buddy. But holy crap, the Browns have screwed you over enough.
Yep, 100%.
So if we were saying, well, who's your number 2 then? Is it Ted McMillan? Is he your number 1 wide receiver?
Yeah, he's my number 1 wide receiver at this point. It is very it's really tough to decide between Ted McMillan, Golden, and Emeka Egbuka. All three are such different receivers, like vastly different. They all win such different ways. And so this is going to be a really interesting draft for draft capital and landing spot, because I think that will shake things up maybe more than I'm used to, because I'm a big pre-draft evaluation holds a lot of weight for me, and I don't move far off of what I believe the talent is. So that's going to be the tricky part in this class. Is I think the talent is all pretty darn close. So I think we're going to get a little more of a decision making because of draft capital this year than we have in other years. But I'm starting to think that we might have 2, maybe even as many as 3 first round running backs, and that really could catapult those guys up the board. If Travion and Omarion Hampton get first round draft capital, that's going to be hard to pass up at 2 and 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
There have been folks talking about Junkins sneaking in there. Also,
maybe
as soon as you see running backs go in the first round, it's like, all right, that's to the moon, because they're getting opportunity. Even if it's like all the way into the 201, 204 range, 205 in the second round, I'm in. I want to see that. But it's nice to see that.
Do you think we get a first round in the first round rookie draft? You think we get a first round of rookies out of the NFL draft first night? It's like 12
actual players that were drafted.
12 fantasy friendly players get drafted between all of them.
All right, well, let me think on this. I don't think so, because I think we're going to get 3 quarterbacks.
Okay.
I think we'll get 2 tight ends.
Yep.
I think we're going to get. Are we counting Travis Hunter or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
All right. So if that's the case,
in a rookie draft,
we'll have 4 to 5 receivers.
Okay.
4 to 5 receivers in the first round in the NFL draft.
I think if we're counting Travis Hunter, Travis, Tet, I think both those guys are locked. I think Matthew Golden's a lock right now.
Yeah.
Egbuka and Burden are kind of on the cusp.
Yeah.
I could see them being, 2 or the 27th pick, 29th pick. I could also see them being like the first or second pick of the second round type guys. So they're going to be right there. So that'll be close.
Okay.
Then I guess it's going to come down to running backs.
Well, that's 10. So then we just need 2 running backs to get a first round.
So yeah, we could see it.
Garrett, every year we do we go live on the first round.
Yeah, draft party.
At the end of it, we do a mock draft. And last year we were 1 short, I believe.
Even with all those quarterbacks?
No, it was 2 years ago we were 1 short.
Oh, okay.
2 years ago we were 1 short because, But no, last year we had plenty because the wide receivers, quarterbacks, and
Yeah.
All
No
right,
running backs, but
that's exciting. What do you do for the NFL draft?
we actually go. We always have our kind of leaders retreat over the NFL draft weekend. We get a lot of content in and stuff done.
Wow.
But we also get a lot of our meeting done. So we go to New York. Actually, we go to a cabin in New York and have a good time.
Where? A cabin in New York? What part?
I think it's called Ellicottsville. It's like a ski town.
Wow.
So Rich has a cabin there. So we always
What?
get his cabin.
Oh,
Yeah,
Richie Rich got the cabin. That's what we got
exactly.
going. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't even know where to start with that. That's amazing. You guys are in some random cabin in upstate New York, I guess.
Yep, that's
know.
exactly what it is.
That's amazing, man. All right, man. We got anything else for this guy, Justin?
Man, I think that covers most of what we were going to hit.
Are you in on Burden? Are you in on Burden or no?
I would say I'm pretty much at consensus. I don't think I'm like well above or well below consensus on Burden. Like, I think he's a good player. I think he's got a lot to offer after the catch. I think in the right creative offense, he could be really good. I do worry he doesn't have the route running yet, but he has the skill set to become a good route runner with his deceleration, acceleration, things like that. So he's got the tools, but he's not there yet. He's an unfinished product. So I'm curious to see where he lands. But yeah, I would say I'm pretty much consensus on him. I don't think I'm like way higher or way lower on him.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah, I think he's going to be one of the enigmas of the draft. Like, we don't know, because 2 years ago he was incredible. This year, not so much. I want to see what the NFL thinks of that.
Yeah,
that regression. The whole team regressed pretty bad, but
for sure.
Yep, not too far away. It's exciting, man. Every week we get to talk about a little bit more. We get a little bit more free agency next week, right?
Yeah, we should have something going on next week.
Speaking of our draft party, tune in. We'll all be all over the internet doing some live. We've secured the Angry Sports Couples going to be joining us. Veterans of the draft party coming back. I think they missed last year. They had a birth of their baby, but this year they're coming back strong for the NFL draft party. We'll have some other guests. It's awesome. Garrett, we got folks they come in for a few picks, then they cut out. Some other people come in. There's just like a Congo line of folks. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Eddie said Larry's coming to crash that party in the cabin.
He's going to come up and meet you guys.
Come on down. Come on down.
All right. Yeah, hey, and remember, folks, if you're looking for an orphan, we got you going. Hit us up for the Dynasty Hot Sauce Listener League. We got 4 spots. We're going to do a dispersal, so you even get to do a draft for your orphan. So I just finished a dispersal.
This guy's getting in. We're getting Jamie in one of these.
Yeah, Jamie's going to be in. I don't care what he says.
So 3 orphans. But
we haven't asked him. We're just telling him. Yeah.
So give us your spiel before we peace out.
Yeah, you can find me on X at Dynasty Price. You can find all of my work with Dynasty Nerds, the podcast, the YouTube stuff. Like I mentioned before, if you're into watching tape, we've got the all 22 tape that you're looking for. I mean, just hundreds and hundreds of film cut-ups on this class. So you'll definitely want to get in, be a part of that. And just excited for the NFL draft to get here.
All right, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Andy.
What's going on?
All right, Justin. Should we take it offline and we'll see everybody next time?
Yeah, it's cereal time.
Oh, okay. Now it's time to eat some cereal if you live in Mississippi, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Dynasty Hot Sauce Podcast.
1, 2, 3, 4.